Well, welcome again to this week's edition of Techsavvy. Today we're looking at files and folders and how to find your stuff, because that's one of the biggest things that I have to deal with in terms of people and contacts. I was dealing with one lady the other day who was an artist, and she was struggling to know how to put things in a place where she could find them. Clearly, an understanding of organization, of how computers actually do things, would be very, very helpful for that person. So when we're looking at how we do files and folders, what I will do is try and give you an outline of how the computer organizes things, because that's the biggest problem for a lot of people, is understanding how that computer stores things. And then I will mention some of the ways that you can organize yourself, and then finally look at some of the problems that you encounter. So let's move across and have a look at this. So I'm just sharing my page, and we'll come down, just get rid of a few things that aren't needed here just at the moment. Sorry, let's have a clean desktop. I've just come straight off one particular event to come to this, so everything's a little bit out of place. So I'm dealing with Windows 10, but a lot of what I'm going to talk about is very much applicable to other operating systems, because the organization of your materials is very, very key. As somebody who deals with a lot of people and a lot of projects, I tend to have things that are on the go at the moment. So although it wouldn't be etiquette to advise you to put things on your desktop, I actually find having something there for a current event very helpful for me as a presenter. So for instance, I have a workplace conference, and everything to do with that event that took place last week are held there. So I don't spend hours trying to find it. But as I said, these kind of things should be done with a shortcut, which would be from documents. So let us consider how a computer is organized first. So let's begin at the very beginning, as the song would say. So when you click on your computer, you will come across Explorer, File Explorer. It's particularly on Windows. On an Apple, you'll see it under hard disk, a little hard disk item. On Chromebook, it will be under files, but you would have to click on a folder icon at the bottom of the screen to make that visible. On an Apple iPad, that's organized slightly different again, and you may be using iCloud to organize your life through that. So here I go. This is File Explorer at the bottom. It looks like a folder with a paperclip on it, actually an old-fashioned kind of floppy disk icon. Very strange icon to use these days. But if you think of a folder that you would put into a filing cabinet, you're not far wrong from what it is. So let's click on it. And you will see down the left-hand side, there are different, as it were, the map of your hard disk. And down here under PC, that will contain the areas that you need to go to organize your materials. And the PC is very clear about that. So let's click on that. And this is the clearest picture that you will get of what's on your machine, because it contains the key folders, with the exception perhaps of 3D objects, which I don't see the point of, and desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos. Pretty much what the material would be. So the rule of thumb is put the material that is either pictures, videos, music, or downloads into the right folders. What I tend to find is people tend to put everything in documents, which means that you'll have your pictures there, your videos there, and everything there. And therefore it's harder to find. So in terms of structuring your materials, it's all about creating folders and making them work in the relevant places. So at the moment, I've ignored quick access, which is your most frequent pins, which are all these, and one mention of OneDrive. Now, OneDrive is a cloud-based solution for a PC, and it also contains information that could be stored in your files in OneDrive, which is in the cloud. So that means that it's a cloud storage device, and therefore it's not on your computer, but is extremely valuable if you want to find your materials again. I mentioned Apple have iCloud, and a Chromebook basically uses Google. So each of them have a cloud-based solution in which your materials can be stored elsewhere. It's an adage that I've used on other tech savvies. You can reinstall your operating system and your apps, but you cannot reinstall your data, your documents, your download, your music, your pictures, your videos, because that's your material. And so having it stored somewhere else is really valuable. So let us consider one of these folders now. Perhaps we will start with pictures. So if you go to your PC, click on the word PC, and then drill down to pictures, you will find that you will come to a lot of material here that I have organized according to the functions that I use. For instance, I'm involved with AbilityNet, and in here I have some icons that I use, particularly this event called Inclusion Scotland, and one of my colleagues who runs a podcast, as well as some interesting other information there. So I try and make sure that my organization relates to the work that I do. So one of the things that's important here is creating your folders. So clicking on New Folder, making sure that one isn't highlighted. So I choose a white area of the screen where there is no other icons, because if I choose here and click New Folder, you will find that it could well have gone into AbilityNet New Folder if I didn't watch out. Fortunately, it's turned up under New Folder here. So I have created a second new folder because there was one in existence before. And if you notice, nothing's contained in it. So the very first thing I do is I click on it and click the right mouse button and I rename it. So we're just going to call it Techsavvy Example, because I already have a folder called Techsavvy over here. So if I had an image or I wanted to put any picture in there, ranging from stuff I've got from the internet to my own photographs, I can just move it into that folder. So when I click on it, I've now got it in there through drag and drop. So this is very much the drag and drop. I'll just repeat that again. I'll take a picture and I'll drag it across and just put it into the folder Techsavvy Examples there. So that's just an example of how you would do it in pictures. Now, if you notice this, I would call the map, the road map to my device. And if I click on Documents, it will show all my documents. Notice it looks very different to pictures. This is because I've chosen a particular view for pictures that is suited for it. And the view is called Large Icons, which I found on the menu at the top here. But if I go to Documents, it goes to Details, because basically I want to be able to see a range of folders there, and I can then put my work into those folders. So how do I achieve that? How do I actually put a piece of work into there? Remember, it is documents. So what I would normally do is I would click on Word or any kind of word processor, and then I would click on Blank Document and I would write some information in there. This is the test file to show how you would put your files into folders. Okay, so I'm now going to save that, and you'll now see the tree begin to appear. So what Word does particularly is that it shows you what you've worked on and where you've put items in the last few weeks. But equally so, I could click on Documents, which would be a place to go, and here are all my folders in Documents related to this particular plan. So map of what I'm trying to achieve. So I can click on that, and this is in OneDrive, so it's going to OneDrive. So I just put test folder, which is the cloud-based solution. Okay, right, that's now saved in the cloud, but I could also save a copy, and for this, I would put it in Browse. Now, Browse will give you the largest area to look at, and also it will show exactly where that map is if I click on the right folder. Remember, the rule is put the right information in the right folder, and then you won't lose it because you will know exactly where it is. And I've shown you how to create your own folder in Pictures. The same applies here. And I could put a new folder in there by clicking here and typing Techsavvy example. Okay, so I'm now going to put test document into Techsavvy example, right? Okay, so that has now gone into the cloud and into a folder. So proof of the pudding is, can I find it again? Remember, I've been organized. I've created a folder. I've put my work in it so that I can find it again. Now, a lot of people just click on save on Word, and it just goes into a big, long list of files, which is fine, but a nightmare when you want to try and find it again. So here's my hint. Go down your list now, and you can see I've created that folder as I was working on it. And we'll just have a look at it. I'll go down the list here and see if Techsavvy example appears. And there it is. There's where it is. So if I click on that, here is my document, test document. If I click on that, it loads in Word. Hey presto, that's the information I wanted. So I've managed to save that information. I've managed to put it into an area there. Now for the cloud solution, I did a similar thing, but I put it into, I think, test documents. I can't remember now. It seems a little while ago. And yeah, I have put it somewhere and I've forgotten already where I put it. So you can see even I get it wrong. So, but I do know that it's in documents in the cloud. So it will be there. Don't worry. I could actually do a search for it. So I think it was called test folder, and we'll see if that comes up. And lo and behold, it doesn't. So I must have called it something else. Okay, well, moving swiftly on, because I don't want to look a complete idiot on that one. Saving things to the cloud, it can be done in two different ways. So let's not worry too much about that at the moment. So what are the current problems that people get into when, and this is the final bit, quite a long Techsavvy today. This is the final bit of the equation. So the problems that people get into is they either just place it in an entire list in documents, or they think, oh, I can't find that folder. I'll make another one. So what they do is they create another folder and they actually start putting in another thing. And before you know where you are, you've got a whole line of new folders down here, which you haven't named, and you've put your things in. And also you can do what's called nesting, which is you can do that inside another folder. So before I get confused, I'm going to delete all of those. It's called nesting when you've got a folder inside a folder. So here we go. I'm going to create a folder This is called Techsavvy, and you can see how easy this can be done. Examples. Okay, so that's a folder inside Techsavvy. So we got Techsavvy example, we got Techsavvy examples, and then just to make it even more confusing, we've got Techsavvy examples again. And this is called nesting. So I've now got 3 folders inside each other. Can you see what I'm doing? There we are, 3 folders, and that is total confusion, and because I have to go down each example to get to the folder. That's called nesting and should be avoided at all costs. So before I get confused, I will take all of those out. So let's delete them all. There we are. So it's all gone now, and that's been all deleted by selecting the item and pressing right mouse click, and that comes off. So now stop sharing, come back to the main screen, and here we are. So that, in essence, is what files and folders are about. And as I said, the methods may be slightly different in the different operating systems, but the concept is still staying. So what I'd say to you, part 1 is make sure that you create folders to put your work in. Part 2, make sure that the right information is in the right place. Documents are in documents, pictures are in pictures, music is in music, and videos are in videos. And that also goes across the other operating systems. And the final thing is make sure that you navigate using the menu on the side screen to the right folder in the right place, so that you always know where your information is stored. So I hope that was helpful in giving you some advice. Do tune in to our other Tech Savvies. That's Miles Pilling from this week's edition of Tech Savvy. Bye.